After doing some research, I feel like three things contributed to Michael Jackson changing his face to its final form: his father, the accident, and his admiration of P.T. Barnum. Joe Jackson tortured Michael. His father not only physically abused him, but he psychologically abused him. He reportedly locked preteen Michael in a hotel room with two sex workers and told him to quote-unquote say goodbye to his virginity. After finding out that Michael was insecure about his nose, Joe would call him Big Nose. Many believe that this was a huge factor in him getting a number of plastic surgeries on his face. According to Rolling Stone, an article said that when MJ's body was in the morgue, his prosthetic nose was missing, leaving only a hole in his face surrounded by bits of cartilage. Direct quote from ABC News article, "Why did Michael Jackson go so far to alter his appearance?" It was after the unprecedented success of 1983's Thriller that Jackson's metamorphosis became far more than an artistic statement. In the video for the mega hit, Jackson transforms from man to werewolf to man to zombie and back to man. It was as if he was using the story to preview the real-life drama of metamorphosis to come. Many writers who have followed MJ's life closely also say that he was never the same after the Pepsi commercial accident of 1984, in which his hair caught fire during the recording. Michael suffered from second and third degree burns that led to him saying, "After some major reconstructive surgery on my scalp, I became increasingly more dependent on painkillers to get me through the days of my tour." Jackson's makeup artist Karen Faye said that Michael didn't want to stop dancing, even after realizing that his hair was on fire, because he didn't, quote, want to disappoint the audience. "I think he was obsessed with staying timeless," acclaimed author Margot Jefferson told ABC News. "It's as if he wanted to look like some, you know, being who has gone into some eternal realm of fame beyond life and death." Jefferson was one of the first to shed light on P.T. Barnum's heavy influence on Michael Jackson. MJ read Barnum's autobiography religiously. He told his manager and lawyer, "This is my Bible and I want it to be yours. I want my whole career to be the greatest show on earth." FYI, P.T. Barnum was the scum of the earth. On top of him being a slave owner, he would put people with disabilities or disorders on display in his freak show or circus. Examples would be the four-legged girl, the bearded lady, the Chinese giant, and the human skeleton. The most famous of all was the enslaved black woman who he quote-unquote rented,
Joyce Heth,
who he paraded around as the 161-year-old former wet nurse of George Washington. He literally worked Joyce to death and then put her body on display. As stated in the article called "The Freak Show and Transformation in Michael Jackson's Life and Work," one of Barnum's exhibits called "The Leper Girl," a little girl who had vitiligo, relates the most to Michael. While the leper child was being exhibited at the museum, Barnum was advertising a miraculous weed, the juice of which was supposedly capable of turning black skin white. In Barnum's time, the disease now known as vitiligo, which destroys skin pigmentation and which Jackson has stated to be affected by, was not yet widely diagnosed. It is likely that because of her mixture of dark and light skin tones, the child in the pictures was viewed as a hybrid, defying the current system of racial classification. In addition to Michael's childhood and desire to be the greatest showman ever, let's also take into account that celebrity was different during MJ's time. It was all about being shrouded in mystery. You didn't know everything about your favorite artist. There was no social media. You only knew what an artist said directly to the media, or you just heard rumors. It was grand scale red carpet. It was the newspaper, Entertainment Tonight, and the tabloids. I believe that all of these events, from the abuse, lack of childhood, and the second and third degree burns, skin issues, and the craving to be at the epicenter of pop culture, led Michael to feel that the perfect way to be the greatest showman ever was to be the show itself, taking the form of what could possibly be a P.T. Barnum exhibit. MJ's final form was a cross between the leper child and a ghost. Even though he died tragically and suffered up until his death, Michael Jackson did achieve his ultimate goal. The fact that we are still talking about him and everyone having their own perspective on his life was MJ's plan the whole time. Even in death, he is still the king of pop. Help me go full-time by pledging $1 to my Patreon, link in bio.
And Michael wants to say something to you. Go ahead.
Go ahead, say it.
Hi.